What is up, interwebnet people? Welcome to another RWBY deck profile from myself, Gutsy Cosplayer. This is my deck profile for my White Rose deck. White Rose being Ruby Rose and Weiss Schnee. So without further ado, let's get into some of the cards. So we'll start off at level 0. First level 0 card is a RWBY Running. Level 0, cost of 0. Auto and a cost of 1, and at the beginning of your opponent's attack phase you may pay the cost. If you do, move this card to an open position of your back stage. Also as an action, cost of 1, and put this card into your waiting room. Look at the top 4 cards from your top of your deck, choose one remnant character from among them, reveal it to your opponent, put it into your hand and put the rest into your waiting room. I run 3 copies of RWBY Running. Next card is RWBY Huntress Wannabe. Level 0, cost 0. Has an auto ability. When it is placed onto the stage from the hand, put the top 2 cards of your deck into your waiting room. This card gets X power until the end of turn, where X is equal to the number of remnant characters among those cards times 1,000. Has an auto ability as well. At the beginning of your opponent's attack phase, you may put the top card of your deck into your waiting room. If that card is remnant, you may move this card to an open position of your center stage. And I run 3 copies of RWBY Huntress Wannabe. Next is RWBY Life Changing Scene, level 0, cost 0. And when this card is placed from stage from your hand, look at the top card of your deck and put it on the top of your deck or into your waiting room. As a second auto with a cost of 1, and put 1 Climax from your hand into your waiting room. When this card is placed on stage from the hand, you may pay the cost, and if you do, choose 1 Climax in your waiting room and return it to your hand. I run 3 copies of RWBY Life Changing Scene. The first level 0 Weiss card, which I run Weiss Team RWBY. Auto has a ability. When this card is placed on stage from your hand, this card gets 1,500 power till end of turn. And an auto of when this card's battle opponent becomes reversed. If you have a Climax in your Climax area, you may put the top card of your deck into stock. I run 2 copies of Weiss Team RWBY. Then I have Weiss Focusing at level 0, cost 0. It has an auto ability and the cost of put 1 Climax from your hand into the waiting room. When this card is placed on stage from hand, you may pay the cost, and if you do, choose 1 remnant character in your waiting room, return it to your hand. Second auto ability of this ability activates twice per turn. Up to 2 times per turn. When your other remnant character is placed on stage from hand, this card gets 1,000 power till end of turn. I run 3 Weiss Focusings. Now on to level 1 cards. First up, Uniform RWBY, level 1 of cost 1. It has a continuous ability where if I have 2 or more remnant characters, this card gets plus 2,000 power. It has an auto encore of a cost of put 1 character from your hand to the waiting room. I run 3 copies of Uniform RWBY. Next up is RWBY Teamwork, level 1 at cost 0. As an auto ability of when this card attacks, if I have 2 or more other remnant characters, this card gets plus 2,000 power till end of turn. And as an auto Climax combo, when this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, if the Climax initiation is in your Climax area, look at the top 4 cards of your deck and choose 1 remnant character from among them, reveal it to your opponent and put it into your hand, put the remaining cards into your waiting room, choose 1 of your characters, and that character gets plus 2,000 power to the end of turn. I run 3 RWBY Teamworks. Next up is the only event card in the deck, Initiation Relic, level 1, cost 0. Put the top 2 cards of your deck into your waiting room. Choose up to 1 level X or lower remnant character in your waiting room and return it to your hand. X is equal to the total level of the cards put into your waiting room by this effect. Climax cards are regarded at level 0. I run 3 copies of Initiation Relic. First of the level 2 cards, it is the only non-White Rose based card in the deck. It's Spectating. Level 2, cost 1. Has a continuous ability and it assists characters in front of this card, gets X power where X is equal to that character's level times by 500. The second ability is an action, pay 2 and rest this card. Choose 1 remnant character in your waiting room and return it to your hand. I run 3 copies of Spectating. Next up, RWBY Embarking on a New Journey, level 2 of cost 2. This card gets plus 2,000 power for each other remnant character in your backstage. And an auto ability of when this card attacks, look at the top card of your deck. Put it on top of your deck or into your waiting room. I run 2 copies of RWBY Embarking on a New Journey. Next up, Uniform Weiss, level 2, cost 1. Continuous ability, when this card gets 500 power for each other remnant character in your backstage. Its auto ability is when this card attacks, if the character facing this card is level 3 or higher, this card gets plus 6,000 power till end of turn. I run 3 copies of Uniform Weiss. Next up is Weiss Teamwork, at level 2 of cost 1. This card has the ability, when this is placed from stage from your hand, choose one remnant character and that character gets X power till end of turn. X is equal to the number of remnant characters you have times 500. Second auto ability is Climax Combo. When this attacks, if initiation is in your Climax area, choose this card and one of your other characters, and those characters get the following ability till end of turn. It's an auto. When this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, look at the 2 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 2 remnant characters from among them, reveal them to your opponent, put them into your hand, and put the rest into your waiting room. I run 3 copies of Weiss Teamwork. Now on to the level 3 cards. First up, RWBY Vital Festival, level 3, cost 2. Auto ability, when this card is placed on the stage from your hand, you may choose one remnant character in your waiting room and return it to your hand. Second ability of cost of 2, and put 2 cards from your hand into your waiting room. At the end of this card's attack, you may pay the cost. If you do, deal 2 damage to your opponent. This damage may be cancelled. I run 3 copies of RWBY Vital Festival. Next up is Weiss Summoning, level 3, cost 2. Has 3 abilities. The first one is a continuous assist. All of your remnant characters in front of this card gets plus 2,000 power. First auto, when this card is placed on the stage from your hand, you may put the top card of your clock into your waiting room. Its third ability is an action. Rest this card. Look at the top 2 cards from your deck and put them on top of your deck in any order. I run 3 copies of Weiss Summoning. And the last character card is Weiss Battle Stance. When this card is placed from the stage from your hand, this card gets X power until end of turn, where X is equal to the number of remnant characters you have times 1,000. Its auto ability, pay 2 and put 2 remnant characters from your hand into your waiting room. This ability activates to 1 time per turn, and during that turn, this card is placed on the stage from your hand. At the end of this card's attack, you may pay the cost. If you do, stand this card. I run 2 copies of Weiss Battle Stance. Now on to the Climax cards. First one, RWBY's Awakening. Auto, when this card is placed from your Climax area from your hand, perform the standby effect. And when this card is triggered, you may choose one character with a level equal to or less than your level plus 1 in your waiting room and put it onto any position of your stage at rest. The final card in the deck is the Climax card Initiation, and this one is continuous. All characters get plus 1,000 power and plus 1 soul, and when this card triggers, you may choose a character in your waiting room and return it to your hand. I run 4 copies of both RWBY's Awakening and Initiation. So thank you very much, guys. That has been the deck profile, my personal deck profile for my RWBY deck, White Rose. If you have any suggestions or you have any comments or queries about it, please drop a comment in the box below, and I'll be more than happy to answer. So thank you very much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.